over the next 2 years.
Scott, if she loses her seat, what can her role in that army be?
Well, it makes sense to me that she would run for president. She's raised a ton of money into a federal account, which can be used in another federal account. President's a federal office. So I think she has the capacity to mount a campaign for president, although it would be as much of a long shot to get the Republican nomination in 24 as it has been to win this primary in 2022. But if she, it strikes me that this is more than just a vote for her, the impeachment vote. This is a crusade. And if she wants to keep that going, that is the next most obvious thing that you would do. And obviously she would garner all kinds of national media attention and political attention. And she seems to think it's her life's work, the culmination of her life's work, keep Donald Trump out of the White House. So that's what I'm expecting to hear tonight. Something short of a campaign, but something obviously building toward it.
And she's already started.
And so there you go. I mean, so they love her today, but they won't love her tomorrow.
No. I mean, this is the thing about Liz Cheney. She's quite conservative. I mean, her voting record, her entire career, and when she was in the House, while Donald Trump was in office, she voted with his position 90-something% of the time. I mean, this is a doctrinaire conservative. So it's not like she's gone off the reservation on issues. She has gone off the reservation on one thing, and that is her attitude and disposition towards Trump and making her crusade, getting rid of Trump out of politics. That I actually think she could have survived the impeachment vote if she had just done what others have done, which is, just kind of ignore it just put it behind her. But that wasn't her choice, and I think she knew up front what the reckoning would be in Wyoming, but she's obviously got bigger things in mind.
Well, we also talked to
Trump supporters.
Scott, as a Republican, what do you think that means for your party and your country?
Well, I mean, I tend to believe Donald Trump today is the most likely Republican to win the nomination in 24, but the least likely Republican to recapture the White House. And I think prior to this FBI issue, I think some Republicans were starting to prepare themselves to turn the page on it. There's been maybe a temporary snapback to him, a reflexive defensiveness. But I think if the Republican Party wants to win back the White House and beat Joe Biden or whoever runs, it probably should look elsewhere. Donald Trump's never won the popular vote, and I don't think his prospects have gotten any better since the last time he tried.
Do you think the election denialism only applies to him, or is that now fundamental? That Republicans, the 2/3 that Chris is talking about, won't believe outcomes if it doesn't go their way now?
I mean, I think there are a lot of Republicans who don't believe in the outcomes. Respectfully, there are a bunch of Democrats who don't think Donald Trump won the 2016 election fair and square either. And there were a lot of Democrats who didn't think George W. Bush won fairly in 2000 or 2004.
But that's because they didn't win the popular votes, not because they think that there was massive fraud.
You don't think Democrats still today cling to the idea that somehow Donald Trump had help winning the 2016 election?
I think it's different. I think it's different than what the election.
See, I don't. I mean, as a Republican, I don't.
You can't compare that to what we saw in 2020. You can't compare that to 2020.
I'm not comparing it, but I think we have been on a 20-year escalator of people increasingly denying outcomes of elections. It got as hot as it's ever been in 20, and I think in 2024, there'll be Republicans who wouldn't accept it if Joe Biden wins again, and there'll be Democrats who wouldn't accept it if Donald Trump or any other Republican.
I remember when Joe Biden was. We're talking about a concerted effort to overturn the election in 2020.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I don't think you can deny the 20-year escalator that we have been on, where partisans have increasingly been willing to disregard the outcome of the election in favor of their own partisan instincts. And it got as bad as it's ever been in 20. My fear is it's going to happen again no matter who wins.
The only one of the differences, not the only, one of the differences is what the candidate says. There are always going to be supporters. You've been on campaigns, I'm sure, where they just don't accept the results. It's different when the candidate, especially when it is the president, says, no, I'm not going to accept it, and has a concerted effort.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
and what has Hillary Clinton said, even as late as this year, about the 2016 election, that it was stolen from me. So, look, I'm not trying to compare it because it got as bad as it's ever gotten, and January 6th was a travesty. I'm not convinced we're not still on that escalator, and we don't know.
Oh, it feels